Hi guys, welcome to the new topic that is neurobiology of substance use disorder, or we say neurobiology of addiction. Addiction. I personally do not prefer to use the term addiction. I will use the term substance use disorder. SUD. Okay. So this is one of the most interesting topic of whole psychiatry or psychology that you want to say. And we will keep it interesting. We will not just go into the academics. It was very easy for me to just write down 20 pages on neurobiology of addiction and teach you. Okay. No. We are going to understand. And in neurobiology of addiction, we have to understand what is the psyche of the person, the psychological aspect, and how does the biology support that psyche. And that is why certain people become dependent on the substance, certain don't. You must have seen people around you. There are people who drink a lot and then they can stop also. They're not actually becoming dependent on the drink, but there are certain people who are becoming dependent. Slowly you feel that, oh, now he cannot live without the drink. You see, you notice people around you, friends around you. Okay, so it is very important for you to understand what is addiction. And actually, when the patient walks into your clinic now, addiction is one part that is goes neglected. What happens is we keep on focusing on the core psychiatric disorder, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar. Addiction goes unnoticed. Okay, we think that it is part and parcel, and we ourselves think that it is just an habit. Okay, but then we have to inculcate this inside us that addiction is a disorder, and if it is a disorder, it has to be treated. Okay, by psychological means or by pharmacological means, it has to be treated. We cannot just let the person live it with it. Okay, no. And most of the times you will notice that nicotine is one thing, tobacco, that we also say if he's eating now, let him eat, no problem. Okay, but this should not be the attitude. Okay, we should give importance to every substance. Okay, and why I am saying this, because you will understand how these substances, when they come into our body, how they change the psyche. Okay, how they affect the reward system. Why do people become dependent on them? That is what is the topic, neurobiology of addiction. So in this, my core thing will that we will correlate psychological and biological, both the aspects of addiction. Okay, psychological and biological. Like if I am thinking ki, no, I will not drink from tomorrow, but then as I wake up and open my eyes tomorrow, what happens is, oh, let me take one drink, one peg, that's it. Okay, so I am thinking like this, but why I am thinking, what is the biological process going on in my mind, that is very important. And on the this basis, I will start with the topic. This lecture is purely for understanding. If you wish to write, you can. If you don't wish to write, I will make you write at the end. So please focus on understanding. First 5-10 minutes give to me, focus on understanding, and thereafter we can see what we have to write. Okay, I will take another lecture in which I will give you the major pointers which will come in your exam, or the major things. Okay, but this lecture, first 5-10 minutes focus on understanding, then we will write, because neurobiology of addiction, it comes as a long note or 10 marks question in your exam. Okay, in your theory exams also, so it is very important. Okay, and above all, the patient will come walking with this disorder to you, and you have to identify it. And if you identify, then the onus is on you to treat it. Okay, fine. So let's begin now. So it is like, you have seen that there are people who use variety of substance are like alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, opioids, etc. The main ones are these. Then there are people who use cocaine, LSD, the higher ends. Then there are people who use the lower ends, tea and coffee. Yes, tea and coffee are also substance. Okay, so then there is every variety that we have. But usually, just go back in time, and if I ask you, what is the reason that people start using substance for, whoever has tried at least once, what was the reason? There are mainly four reasons that are identified. Either people People do it for amusement. Oh, I have passed class 12th, I've got 99%, let's party. And in that party, you try your first drink. One reason can be amusement. Second reason is that, let's say you had a breakup and now you are depressed and you want to get over this situation. So to deal with your negative emotions, you say, okay, I'll take alcohol, at least it will make me relax and I will sleep off. Okay. Okay, so to get a high after sadness, that is one more common thing. And the main common thing is, the main thing is that the people start it in peer pressure. Okay, you see that, okay, there is a group of 6 people in the college, 4 are drinking, 2 are not drinking. Later on, over 2-3 months, that one, out of the 2, one more starts drinking. Now 5 are drinking, 1 is not drinking, and over 6-7 months you see that the last person also starts drinking. Okay, so this is mainly these are the common reasons that people start to use the substance. Amusement, to get high, to get over the sadness phase, and peer pressure. 4 main reasons that we have identified that people try it for the first time. So trying is fine. Okay, I should not say this, especially on the national thing, but then trying till here, for the person it is fine, for you it is not fine. For the person it is fine who is trying it. Now, how does the person move forward after trying? Let's say I tried on 1st of January 2025. Now there is a party on 1st of February 2025. Why I do that process again? Why do I try it again? Okay, so what is the loop of substance, and how do the people, they get trapped into this loop? So what happens is they start with the positive effects, then they get the pleasure of the substance. Pleasure can be, let's say I am socially awkward, but when I took the alcohol, I could talk to people and I felt well, and I was dancing as well. Okay, and the better part was that I drank so much that I don't even remember. People were telling me that I was doing this. Okay, so I don't even remember. So where is social awkwardness? So now my brain knows, to enjoy I need alcohol. To enjoy, I need alcohol. To get the pleasure, to boost my confidence, I need alcohol. This thought again and again, it strengthens. And every time I take alcohol, I do this, I forget, but people tell me, okay, and this is what I have always wanted. If I am socially awkward, I have always wanted to be socially extrovert. So this is what I have always wanted. So now I know, to achieve my ambition, to achieve what I have always wanted, I need a medium, and that medium is alcohol. So my belief, my psyche says, my belief is getting strengthened that to become socially extrovert, I need something else. I cannot enjoy the party. If we look at the biology side of this, what is happening whenever you take the substance, where does the substance go? It goes in your mouth? No, it does not go into your mouth. It goes into your brain. And where do every substance go? Where does every substance go? It goes into the reward pathway. As soon as the substance reaches the reward pathway, what happens is, let's say normally if I do anything, I get 10 dopamines. If I do anything, any task, I get 10 dopamine. When I drank alcohol, there was a sudden rush of dopamine and I got 100 dopamine. So if I was getting 10 rewards, now I suddenly get 100 rewards. Okay. And my body likes this. So the psychology is, my belief is getting strengthened, but what is the biology? That the reward system is releasing extra dopamine every time the person is using substance. The reward system is firing more and releasing more dopamine. Till here you are with me? Are you able to understand? Are you able to process? Just give me some time. See, we will try to understand every basic, okay, that I can teach, that I know of. Okay, and then if you understand this now, you will fall in love with addiction, and then you will not miss addiction in your patients. Okay, and when you explain these things to your patient, now why is this happening, what is happening, they tend to gel up with you, and then they stay in the treatment loop for a longer period of time. So these things become handy at times. Okay.